Prologue: The Harvest. The wind on Mount Gyeongun didn't blow, it vibrated. It hummed through the rusted wire of the perimeter fences and whistled against the jagged concrete skeletons of the Taeyong development project rising in the valley below. To the city of Gimhae, the mountain was just a hurdle for real estate, but at the edge of the ridge overlooking the Nyeodong school, the wind found something new to play with. It was a scarecrow, but it was too heavy to be made of straw. 2 kilometers away, at the edge of the Jucheon industrial site, Park Min-ho leaned against the yellow steel of a Taeyong crane. He spat a mouthful of cold coffee into the frozen mud and squinted up at the ridge. Through his binoculars, he saw a figure standing on a small terraced patch of land. A tiny plot where rows of withered chili plants and skeletal sesame stalks clung to the hillside. It stood nearly 7 feet tall, mounted on a crossbeam of scavenged timber. It wore a traditional white hanbok, the fabric yellowed by the mist. "Crazy old Halmione," Park muttered, thinking it was just one of the local grandmothers who spent their days hunched over patches of eggplant and onions, refusing to let the mountain go to the developers. Then the sun hit the costume at a sharp angle. The white sleeves weren't stuffed with straw. The dark matted clumps poking out were too fine, too gray. It was human hair. Park's hand began to shake, the binoculars vibrating against his safety helmet. A kilometer away, behind a reinforced window in a cottage that didn't appear on any city map, the daywalker adjusted his scope. He watched a single crow land on the scarecrow's shoulder. The bird pecked at the burlap mask, eyes stitched shut with industrial twine, and then recoiled with a jagged cry. He didn't pick up a phone. He didn't call the police. He simply watched. The stillness was shattered by the roar of rotors. The whirlwind kicked up dead leaves and frozen dirt, stinging the eyes of the forensic team as they worked the perimeter. Dr. Lee stood her ground, her lab coat whipping violently around her knees as she watched the cable lift the stretcher toward the belly of the helicopter. The scarecrow was no longer a monument. It was evidence, swinging in slow, sickening circles against the gray sky as it was hoisted upward.
Safe trip.
That's a bit rude, isn't it, Doctor? Showing a little respect for the deceased wouldn't kill you.
No, Detective. What's rude is them being up here on this mountain at this ungodly hour. Now we have to haul all this equipment back down in the dark.
Inside the station, the air was thick with floor wax and the low hum of computers. Julie Kim dropped her mud-caked boots onto the linoleum and slumped into her chair. Across from her, Sergeant Kang was leaning over a topographical map of Jucheon, a red marker in his hand.
"The Taeyong guys are already calling the chief," Kang said, his voice a weary gravel. "They want the ridge cleared. They're saying the incident is tanking their pre-sale value for the new towers."
Incident, Julie snapped. A woman was turned into a landscape feature, Kang. She was displayed like a trophy on her own patch of land.
"The chief doesn't care about the peppers or the sesame leaves, Julie. He cares about the developers." Kang tapped the map where the Jucheon site met the mountain. "Our victim was an obstacle. If Taeyong wanted her off that ridge, they had the motive."
The heavy glass door to the squad room swung open with a sharp clack. Dr. Lee walked in, still wearing her scrubs, a plastic evidence bag dangling from her hand.
I did a preliminary scan before the body was fully prepped for the locker, Lee said, dropping the bag onto Julie's desk. I found something the mountain wind almost took. It was tucked into the stitching of the hanbok, directly over the heart.
Inside the bag was a thin silver chain with a tarnished geometric trinket, a small raven with a single unidentifiable hallmark on the clasp.
Julie pulled a magnifying loupe from her drawer and peered at the tiny engraving. This hallmark, I've never seen anything like it. It's not a standard stamp. It looks like a compass point, or maybe a star.
It's foreign, Lee said flatly. The silver quality, the design, it doesn't belong in a Gimhae market. This piece of jewelry traveled a long way to end up on that hill.
Julie picked up the bag, the silver feeling unnervingly cold. So our local Halmione has a piece of foreign silver over her heart, and a corporate giant wants her land buried under a skyscraper.
Kang sighed, finally closing his red marker. An old woman who never left Gimhae, and a trinket from a place she couldn't find on a map. This isn't just a land war anymore, is it?
No, Julie whispered, looking toward the dark window. It's a bridge, and I don't think we're going to like what's on the other side.